adversity? Bring it. The struggle? We welcome it. Snooze on life? Never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on.
We're back, episode 47, No Snooze Podcast. We're a week in to the 10% challenge. Welcome back, David.
Yes, welcome back. Right on the diet, I guess talk is more important than ever, though, is just taking care of yourself, right? We're not going to get into the whole political thing that's been going on. I know everybody has their views on it, but now is a more important time than ever to just be taking care of yourself. So, dieting is one way that you can obviously take care of yourself, making smart decisions. And that's what we're trying to do, is just make better decisions. We happen to be applying it to the diet, but this is something that's, much bigger than just that.
Yep. And then the other thing I want to mention, and we'll jump right into that, is CV has his microphone. First time on the podcast. I'm so proud of him making that better decision now.
Yes, I think it's a great decision too. Before we jump into all the updates, we got to speak on the Amazon Withings scale that we recommended.
First off, terrible name, Withings.
Yeah. Look, I want to be honest with everybody, right? Like we ordered it. It came to my house. I was super excited. I remember Mike on the last podcast saying, I'm going to pay the manufacturer. And, I know this body fat thing is going to come back like 25+%. Long story short, I get on the scale. Great app, by the way. And I want to give an honest review on it, right? It was a great app.
Well, it's the health app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It links with the health app.
But it linked nice. Technology was great. It synced to my Wi-Fi. I get on the scale and my weight was spot on from what we did at the InBody at the gym. So that part was great. My water intake, spot on. There was no calibration for the muscle. So then when I get to the BMI, now the BMI was accurate. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Then I get to the body fat, and it literally said 27%. So that just tells me that either one, I'm a blob, but the realistic part of it is that scale specifically wasn't able to determine what was muscle and what was fat. So it took my 230-pound body, and it calibrated it off the BMI. Which BMI for me and most people is not very accurate, because a body mass index of 30 basically says that I'm morbidly obese, because it doesn't take into account the athletic figure into it.
So what's the BMI for? Like, why?
Well, it's a body mass index. I don't know. It's a measure that I really don't know the specifics.
It's easy just to put data out on
but
people.
Yes, I think it's for obesity studies, which obviously wouldn't even be accurate if that's the case if you're athletic. But I'm sure there's some scientific reasoning behind it. But I was a little upset about it. I'm not going to lie.
Understandably. My other question for you is, when you weigh yourself in,
what
do you usually wear? I know you wear the same thing every day,
probably,
right?
Yeah, well, when I did that one, I only had my boxers on, and you had to take your socks off, and I was excited because it had the electrodes on the bottom of the scale, but there's got to be something with the InBodies, which is like, I didn't realize, I sent it to you guys, but it's a $5,000 machine, and they have them at the GNC. Michael tell us his experience there, the same one at the gym. So I'm going to go off that just because that's what real athletes, in their fields use, and all the athletic sports teams and colleges and universities, that's what they use. So if you're looking to gauge, my point is, if you're really looking to just gauge your weight and see some sort of measure to decrease body fat, the scale is good, right? But it's not accurate if you're trying to get down to a low body fat percentage. So I returned mine, just being honest with you guys.
Then I also realized that I already have that scale at home. It just is it's like a Nokia scale, and they rebranded. So I literally bought the same scale, and then when I went to sync it up, I was like, oh, this is the app I've used to lose the weight.
Yep.
And then through doing that, it also had an absurd body weight, like 22.9 or something.
Well, and honestly, yours was lower, and I think, and I'm not really trying to sound like
because there's less muscle. Yeah.
You were the one that said, like, I don't have muscle, blah, blah, blah. But so if it takes a 210-pound body, right, obviously the percentage is going to be lower than a 230-pound body when it's not taking the muscle into account.
Correct.
Give us.
Wait,
go ahead.
The other thing I want to mention is you said you do. I go butt ass. Ooh, pardon my French. I go completely naked when I weigh in every morning.
Well, your boxers weigh a lot or something?
Yeah.
I mean, what?
When you're this size, you got big boxers. I take the watch off, everything. I take a deep breath. I flex right in front of the mirror. So the weighing in the morning has been tricky because I have to go into the bathroom at 5, and you ever like lift a scale and then put a scale down? It like makes a rattle noise. I don't know how many times I've woken the baby up by accident because I've like kicked the scale, or like you got to tap it sometimes
Just
to get
by
it going.
doing that?
Yeah. So it's very stressful to get the weight in the morning, but it's only when I like to do it.
Speaking of the babies, let's give a quick update because there has been a dramatic increase in activity.
Yeah.
I got to see Livi the other night, so I know it's the same thing with Callie. They're super alert, super aware, but Callie, she's on another level right now. We put her into this walker that she can actually physically walk around.
She cruises.
The house. Yeah, she cruises all over the place.
Bumps into people.
She's obsessed with Chance. My poor guy. He's 10 years old, going on 11. He's handling the situation phenomenal, but she's yanking his ears. She's pulling his tail. She's taking her hand, putting it into his water bowl and throwing it around.
It's pretty funny.
So I don't know if this walker is good, Mike. I got to be honest with you.
It's funny you say that because Livi this morning, I dropped the baby off before I went out to my appointments, and Livi grabbed Petey by the beard and just ripped him, and he's
She did
cried.
the same thing to me the other night.
Yeah. She's. You think it's because of the stuffed animal scenario? Because they have stuffed animals, they probably think they're cartoons.
Could be, but it's right around the 6 month. Callie will be 7 months on the 16th. I know Livi will be on the 30th, right?
Yes. Yep.
So I think around this time, it's starting to get a lot more fun, per se. And there's a lot more activity.
Yeah, and the bouncer is a lifesaver, at least for us, and even just to be able to put them sitting upright and be able to play with toys, you can get so much more done now.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of put them there.
So don't get the walker, because the walker,
yeah,
she's moving, so you have to constantly watch her.
But she's contained, right? It's like bumper cars.
She's contained, but I mean, we had to put a gate up in front of the stairs because that thing could have, flew down the stairs.
We got to put a little ramp for her so she.
Yeah. Oh, we also had to even install, little things in the cabinets.
Yeah, the safety locks.
Yeah, I didn't do it. I had a guy.
Did you really?
You witnessed that.
Oh yeah, your friend, his friend visited. And
yes,
I walk in and I see this young lady, and she's like, "Oh, my husband here." I'm like, "Where is he?" She goes, "Oh, he's working on Dave's to-do list."
Yeah. So Nora and Chris, they were in for a little bit, and Chris is actually an anesthesiologist, right? And he's a physician, and then he's over here helping me with my my little stupid projects that I couldn't install. So thank you, buddy.
And as he left, he was like, "All right, figure out what you want next time." And he walked out.
Yes.
On the baby front too, I don't know if you're seeing this, but their coordination is so much better. Like she can actually grab what she wants to grab now, whereas before she would kind of like couldn't do things.
Yep.
Now she's grabbing toys and like whipping them at me.
Yes.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And the food, they know food. Like before, if I was eating my food, the rare time that I do, she wouldn't go for it. Now she knows that she can have it. We gave her bacon the other day just to suck on.
Oof.
She went ballistic.
Wait, real bacon?
Real bacon.
Wow.
She just put her mouth on it, and she's definitely her daughter's mother.
Her daughter's mother? No, her mother's daughter.
Dyslexia is a real thing.
That's my guy. We have a extreme diet going for Callie, and this is all.
Of course you do.
Shout to the in-laws though, because they are pureeing fruits for Callie. So she's gotten to eat pears, bananas, apples in the NutriBullet mixed with a little water, then put in the freezer, and it stays good. But she's got some gourmet diet going. But the faces she makes when she tries new fruits, it's hilarious.
So funny.
And then squash she's eating. I don't even eat squash.
Next time, who's making this food for you?
This is Grandma.
Grandma.
Yeah.
Tell Grandma, be like, listen, we got to double the portions and then send some my way.
Smart guy. Let's hit this pod bod father figure. Hopefully not a dad bod update.
Okay.
All right.
You want to start us off?
No, you start us off, because for me, I know there's adjustments, and you actually called it, which was great. And of course, me being the way that I think, I'm like, yeah, I know it's going to work what I'm doing, because it has to work, right? Just based off of science. So do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'd like you to go first. I want to mention that the more I'm digging into it, the more I'm realizing it's not a perfect science, the body.
Oh, yeah, no,
right?
Absolutely.
And you working out consistently as much as you have may hinder the immediate results.
Yep.
Because your body's so in tuned already, right?
Yeah.
Whereas for me, like the first week has been transformational because I was so out of it. But I will hit the point, I'll hit the plateau. Point.
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
It's interesting.
But yeah, so there's definitely some things, and shout out to my buddy Castro, who happens to work at Peloton. Long story short, I think we connected on the app. He checked out the podcast. We've been really cool ever since. But he's also into physical training. I think he was a trainer for about 7 years, he told me. And he basically posed a question to me. He's like, Dave, did you explain? You didn't get into the caloric deficit, right? You didn't explain that portion on the last episode.
Yeah.
So that's my apologies. Thank you for bringing that up to me. But basically, because I burn so many calories, and the average. Let me give you just a.
Do you know how many you think you burn in a day?
Yeah, no, I mean I know the number through a test, but the average woman burns between 1,600 to 2,000 calories just as a sedentary individual, not really doing much. But the average male, depending on the size and activity, they're burning between 2,000 and 3,000 calories.
Okay.
Now, the caloric deficit it's a simple formula. Calories in minus calories out. But I did not take into account that I'm still working out the way that I am. So if I'm burning an additional 700 to 1,000 calories on top of me being around the average of 3,000 calories, now I'm burning 4,000 calories for the day. So I had to up my intake a little bit. So some days I'm at 2,700. I know last time I said around 2,300, but these are the adjustments that you actually spoke about. Like, all right, what are you going to do? If it's not working, not that it's not working, but I would put myself in too much of a deficit to where an extreme amount of muscle would be targeted versus my body fat.
And to be able not to target your muscle, you have to intake a certain amount of protein. Is that
yes,
like the basic?
So again, the protein level needs to be up, but just at a real base level, the caloric deficit, 3,500 calories is 1 pound of fat. That's just a fact. Everybody should know that. Now, when you put yourself in a caloric deficit, when that number adds up to 3,500 calories, that's when you lose a pound of fat. But if you're not consuming enough protein or enough calories, the energy comes from your muscle, which is terrible for somebody like me.
Yeah.
That's not what I want, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to get down to 10% body fat and then I lost, 24 pounds of muscle too.
Well,
that'd be terrible.
Thermogenic effect of muscle is much better, right? Your resting metabolism's much higher when you have more muscle, right? You burn more fat just being.
Right. So for me.
So the goal is to build muscle.
Yes. Or at least maintain
drop
my muscle.
Fat. Can you?
For me.
Yeah, because I was researching dirty bulks, cutting, all that stuff. And the main thing that I'm trying to figure out is is it possible to be building muscle while dropping fat?
Yes,
but it's difficult, right?
It's very hard because
you need to you have to hit a certain number of protein, right? But still stay in a deficit.
Still stay in a deficit. Protein level needs to be extremely up, but your activity level needs to be through the roof.
Yeah.
Right. But for me, that's kind of happening. I didn't adjust my workouts. I like to work out the way that I work out. I'm not slowing that down just because we're in this challenge.
What do you mean slowing it down?
Because I could easily do this if I wanted to say, yeah, you know what? I'll cut back on the cardio sessions. I won't do it as much, or I won't go as hard. When I work out with weights, I mean, you've experienced this. I take very small.
I experienced it hungover too. It was terrible.
I take very small breaks in between my sets.
Yes.
So
drop sets. You do a lot of drop sets,
right?
Which I was doing the research. It's just very smart,
right? So that is my basis for training. If I were to slow that process down and do a set of 10, take a water break, take a minute and a half in between, now I'm not going to burn as many calories throughout my workout. But I sweat the way that I do because of the way I work out.
Do you go heavy anymore, though? Because I was researching that the heavier you go, well, you have to mix up one. And then two, if you go very heavy, your progressive overload, you achieve it a lot quicker.
Right.
You know, versus burnout.
I'm mixing it all in now. But I would say that I am, the way that I like to lift, and, at the job, I happen to be fortunate. There's a small gym there, so I take advantage of that. But I like to lift moderately heavy weights for repetitions, right? So I don't do sets of 5. or really 10. I'm in between 10 to 20 repetitions, depending on what it is.
See, I like this. Where our approach is still so different, but I'm stealing a lot of your tactics. I'm just trying to adjust them for my preference.
Right.
Like, do you have an idea in your head of the perfect body of like a famous person that you want? You know,
I think everybody's is The Rock, but that's not really
see,
attainable.
I don't think that's everyone's.
Oh, really?
No, that's not mine. I don't want The Rock. I want like a basketball player.
Danny DeVito.
Danny
Claudio.
DeVito. That's good. I have that. I would like something like a long, lean athlete.
Dwight Howard.
Like a Dwight.
Incredible.
He's still like shoulders a little wide for me, right? And his chest a little flat.
What size suit do you think he wears?
Oh, it's got to be. Taylor's got to just his head's in a pretzel when that guy walks in. He's like, I need another guy.
Yeah. So who is it though for you? Dave Regina?
Dave Regina would be a good one. I think I want to be more top heavy and lean on the ab area, like little V, right? Top heavy, big chest, kind of not. I don't want to look on. I want to look proportional, where like he might play soccer. Oh no, he might be a runner.
Okay,
but he's an athlete of some type. Little do they know, I'm not really an athlete.
People don't think The Rock plays soccer.
No, exactly, right? But you want The Rock. Like ultimately,
no, I don't think I would want that now.
What would you want then? Tell me. It's hard. I should have had someone ready, but I can see it. Let me think about while you're thinking.
Yeah, I got to kind of think about it too. But I think the basketball body and
what
not
about
being
like Magic Mike.
Magic Mike. That's a good one.
I think that's too slim.
He's not
for
tight
me.
enough though. But like McConaughey is ripped in that movie.
Okay, yeah.
I love how we're referencing Magic Mike, and I know all the people.
Yeah, you know who has a great physique is Dan Bilzerian.
See, that's not my physique.
Too big
That's
for you?
your physique. Too big.
Too big?
Too big.
Yeah,
I went through the phase of the big stuff, and I enjoyed it.
The big stuff.
No, I just I enjoyed the physicality of that, and you're an imposing figure. I don't think I want to be that. I just want to be long,
You
lean.
just want to slither through a door like.
Yeah, I want to look good. Like, here's my thing: when I wear a suit, I want people to think he could be either really like skinny fat or super ripped. I don't know.
Well, that's kind of
like, not
that's
much
your
is
figure-
changing.
So talk to me. What don't you think that I look good in?
I say you look good in everything. It's just not my look, right? I'm saying for me, it's not the look I want. I'm no offense to your look.
No, I got you. But I see for me,
like how many times do I say long and lean?
Yeah.
I love it. I don't know why I'm obsessed with
but
trying
I
to
think
get
that's
that
your
physique
as it is, and now you're just trying to tighten that.
Yeah, I'm trying to emphasize it. I think if I try to go too bulky, it won't look right on me. It looks good on you.
I think I got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Dirk Nowitzki.
Dirk's a good one. Damn, I
You're
gotta think.
soft.
I'll come up with a name as we're going on. The calorie deficit discussion is something that. So what's interesting for me is through this past year, I've tested a lot of things. Right, I tested just doing push-ups, basically a workout that you can do anywhere, anytime, and I tested doing the fasting. I did like stuff in phases without even knowing. I was kind of hopping around, right? And I never did them all at the same time. Then I talked about doing this weight situation for forever, and couldn't figure out how to execute on it. Now I feel like it's all clicking because I'm doing all of them at the same time. Your discussions about drinking more water, I've implemented that over some time. And now it's clicking because I think I have all my systems that I talk about, and I'm doing them all at the same time, and I tweaked all of them. So I'm doing the fasting in certain spurts because one of the difficulties is I only know that I can consistently work out in the mornings. Mm-hmm. And if I don't feed my muscles, you're wasting a great workout, right? And I tried to not eat after.
Well, there's science there. I don't know.
The science, yeah.
Some say yes, some say no.
You could do like BCAAs and all that. I was researching, and I might go back to that. I might tweak it. But what I've been doing is I've been doing my workout hard and then doing, eating not a huge meal, but just mostly protein, egg whites, chicken sausage, things that are very low carb, but all protein. I'm definitely getting out of the fast, but the habit of being able to fast all day has allowed me to eat that meal at 7 a.m. and then fast all the way to 6 anyway.
See, I don't know if that approach is going to work for the body fat, because like you were saying on the last episode, well, what is it going to eat? I remember you saying something funny about the organs or something.
What am I eating?
But
organs?
because you still have muscle, your body may target that muscle if you're not inputting enough calories and you're expending so much. Because you can't go into you can't eat 1,000 and then be burning 2,500.
Well, I'm not eating 1,000 anymore. So a couple adjustments here, right? So I'll go through the routine in the morning, but I want to talk about the high level adjustments first. So I'm eating that meal now, which is an adjustment. I do my my Bowflex weights, which I purchased. They're adjustables from 5 pounds up to 52.5, and they're very quick. So I have those. I do the weights. Then I do like the push-up where you can do it anywhere. I do my jump rope. I do a guide, or I call them no ropes because there's no jump rope, which is targeting fat burning, right? Because it's 30 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 30 seconds on for 30 minutes.
So the movement, yes, 100%. But what are you eating for the rest of the day to allow that process to kick in?
I'll get to it. So I've done that's all new stuff that it's been implemented. I did it 7 times this week.
That's great.
Because I put together a workout where even if Olivia wakes up, I can do it because she's right there. It's quick. What?
Tell everybody how you squeeze her in between the couch.
So I make like a little. So there's a couple angles, right? If I get through my weights first, then it's easy if she wakes up because I just throw her in her jumper and we do jump rope together, and she gets a kick out of that. If she wakes up prior to that, like today, she woke up at 6 a.m. and I got up at 6 to work out. I put her in between the pillows and sit her up, and then I have to make dumb faces while I'm working out, which you kind of naturally do anyway when you're lifting heavy.
Mm-hmm. You got to post this stuff.
I know it's tough because it is tough. In my head, I'm like, before I was doing no snooze stuff for 2-3 hours in the morning. Yep. I need to focus on getting the routine down.
Yes.
Then I can implement taking videos and stuff. I just need to get momentum. So lifting moderately heavy, reps of like 8 for 4 sets, and then very little rest in between. You know, if there is a break in the action because I have to get her toy or she throws something or spills something, I do that. Jump rope right after. So I'm trying to drain my glycogen in my muscles.
So that's a superset.
I'm supersetting everything.
Supersetting.
Draining my glycogen, which I was doing a little research.
Nice, I see you.
Then I do the jump rope, which targets fat burning, right? Because my glycogen is depleted. So it's burning, and it's all fasted, right? You wake up, 2 cups of iced coffee, 2 glasses, bang, bang. 2.
Wow, you must be like, bang!
Yeah, quick though, bang, bang. Then I fill up a 30-ounce glass bottle of 5 grams of creatine and all water. I drink that while I work out. I try to drink it fast. After the workout's done, or the weight workout, I switch to a full one of those with 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar.
Nice.
I'm right. Everything's clicking. Then I do my jump rope with that. I finish that, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do abs, and I immediately after that start drinking more water and have my krill oil. Then I have my eggs and turkey or chicken sausage right after that. So that's like my morning sprint, and it's just tons of hydration, a lot of workout, a lot of calories, a lot of steps, and a meal. And then after that, I basically don't eat until 6. Or 5, depending on how busy the work day is.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of like little adjustments there.
Yeah. And the supplementing thing is great. I'm not taking any creatine.
I'm getting super sciencey. I have to. There's the only way.
Well, but because I'm probably still getting more creatine than you because of my red meat.
Well, so here, dinners now.
Right.
I haven't been doing the frozen crap.
Oh, not Michael microwavable.
I supplement with that, right? So like there's bowls of vegetables, like really good bowls.
I microwave my vegetables as well.
So I got tons of cauliflower rice, cauliflower everything, basically, variations of it. Sweet potatoes that you just put in the microwave. So I'm not cooking. And the big adjustment is I try to bake everything versus on the stovetop, because when you put it in the oven, you can do other things while it's cooking.
Right.
So even ground meat now, I just put in the oven.
Okay.
And let it go. So this week, like I had grass-fed ground meat, and I would eat a whole package. Beef. Beef. I have done turkey, but I did beef this week, grass-fed. I got everything at Whole Foods. One of my chefing is a variation of that, but I eat the whole package. So that's like 80 grams of protein right there.
Yep.
And then I add on Greek yogurt, certain things on top of it to get 150 grams. How many I'm targeting like 150 grams of protein. I should be doing more, right?
It's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough. I'm at I started at like 220 was the first day, right? I wanted to be at like 230, and now I've adjusted to make sure that I'm hitting like 275-ish. I have to though, because
your weight.
Again, no, it's not really even the weight, but yes, the weight is one thing. But I have to add the additional calories in because of how much I'm burning. And I cannot be in a caloric deficit the way that I was on day 1 and day 2, because I saw it. You know, I wrote down all the information. Just because I'd be losing weight quickly. Yes, my body fat would go down, but I'm not trying to do this for the next 3 months and lose all my muscle and be like, yeah, I'm 10% body fat.
I'm trying to get there by any means necessary.
No, I want to do this sustained. I want longevity. I want to do it as healthy as possible. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Right? So you did
my thought though is get there and then figure out how to be healthy at 10%.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Is that, you know what I mean?
I
like
hear
that's
the approach.
where I'm a little.
I definitely, and again, I said it from day 1. I think you're going to get there.
I don't know. It's a long way.
It is, but also now you know where you're at. Yes, it's much, higher than I have to get to, but
the data though stresses me out. The lack of ability to weigh every day and get my percentage stresses me out because I don't like that. I need it.
I like sticking to I like knowing where I'm at, sticking to a plan. I know it's going to work, and then I weigh in.
Well, I don't trust things that they're going to work unless it tells me that it's working, right? Like I don't think I have more education now as far as like water weight. I know what time of the day to weigh yourself. Like I know that stuff. But even then, I want to see a percentage and be like, okay, I weighed in the morning every day this week, and I was down to like 21%, but I don't know if it's accurate. So I'm like, it could be working, but I don't know.
Well, you got to think too. And
I might go to GNC every day.
I made a joke and I said, the average body fat of a human being is 18 of a male is 18 to 24%.
Yeah, you told me better than mediocre.
So I said to Mike, Mike, 22 is great. At least you're not mediocre, because mediocre is below average.
Yeah.
Right. And honestly, that's not that bad. If you said it yourself, you basically didn't really work out
for like 5 years.
Okay. And if you're still in that average, body type, that's not a bad thing. And now you will see extreme results because you're going extremely hard. My only question to you is based off of what you just did, right? You were at 230 pounds.
Yeah.
You lost 30 pounds with a quickness.
Yes.
You did it. You sustained it. Great.
And but the 10 that I put on, though, was in the middle of a holiday, which I kind of planned for. I was like, I'm going to
That was
relax.
My question to you.
Yeah, I planned for that.
Explain when you then got back on the scale how you felt at 212 pounds, because basically you weren't 200 anymore. So you put back 12 pounds on. How did that? I really want to know.
Yeah. So
what were you thinking?
I wasn't concerned because in the past I build in the fluctuation. Like I would have cheat meals or cheat days and would fluctuate like 3 to 4 pounds. And it wouldn't stress me out because I'm okay with taking off a week because I know all I could do is implement it again and I'm back to where I was pretty quickly. Like I'm already down to like 208 within like a week. So I'm not worried about the weight anymore. Because of the challenge is to get to 10%, the priority is the 10%, knowing that if I'm trying to build muscle and losing fat, some weeks it might plateau the weight, but as long as that percentage is going down, which I can't see consistently, that's the problem.
No, the reason.
But I'm not concerned by that because I eat like an animal and I knew I was going to eat like an animal. It was it was like not a routine. Like if I gained 12 doing my routine, in like a regular work week, I'd be concerned.
Right.
But because it was a circumstance where,
Just to let you know, and I think this got... So one, I asked you because I think that's valuable to people.
Yeah.
Right? When you make time in your schedule and you say, you know what, for the next week or two, it's okay. I know that... I
take pride in it sometimes.
Right, but I know the expectation is that I'm going to put on some weight. Cool. But now look what you've been able to do, right? You've been able to implement an extreme routine. And it doesn't even have to be that extreme for some people. Just start changing 1 or 2 habits like Mike was doing along the way, and now you come up with a killer routine. So I asked because, one, I knew your mindset on it, and I think it's something that could be applied on other individuals. For me, I always tell people that I weigh 225 to the 227. This is something I don't know if you knew, because that's when I weigh in the morning.
Yeah.
Do you know at times I've gone to sleep and I'm like 237 or 238.
Yeah, well, it's water weight. You drink an insane amount of water. It's food in your stomach.
Right, but my fluctuation on a day-to-day basis sometimes is absurd. So I only weigh myself in the mornings.
Yes, yeah.
You know, that's the only thing that I really take the calibration off of.
And not to get too graphic, but with like the body fat percentage thing, you have to be strategic when you weigh yourself. I'm thinking, because I don't think it knows if you have stuff in your stomach, like food. I don't think it knows how to differentiate. So
I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure it doesn't say, "Hey, Michael, you have food in your stomach today."
And now eating bigger meals to try to get more calories, because I was doing the 1,000. Now I'm doing like, anywhere between 1,500 to probably less than 1,500.
So do
you think it's possible?
I'm telling you now, Mike. I'm telling you now.
But my muscles feel fuller anyway.
Now they do. But you'll see. You're gonna have to up that, because eventually when you go back to GNC and you see your skeletal muscle mass, right, and you take that number from before, you need to make sure that that's either 1 staying the same and maintaining, or 2 going up.
What skeletal mass? Like my bones?
It's on there. No, it says skeletal muscle mass.
Oh, it's skeletal muscle mass.
Right. So that weighs your muscle mass.
Oh,
so
did I bring it? I might have brought it.
No, but you have it though.
I know, but I might have brought it.
So the next time you do it, you can calibrate again based off of, well, damn, do I want to keep the muscle? If you don't want to keep the muscle and you want to do it and you want to be in a deficit like that, cool. That might be what you're looking for. I don't know,
So I actually was thinking about this. If I get through a month and my body fat percentage isn't dropping as quickly as I needed to get to the challenge, I'm still going to probably lift weights, but I'm probably going to drop the calories dramatically and just say, listen, I'll try to hit as much protein, but I just have to be realistic that I'm not going to be building muscle during this phase, and I need to get to 10%, and then I'll bulk after.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, I mean, your goal is to get to 10%, right?
In a perfect world, I'd get the McConaughey body while doing it.
Right.
Sometimes you have to be realistic. Like, you have to reevaluate.
Yep. So Claudio, our AV guy, right? He has a microphone in front of him. He has been implementing, his own personal routines kind of throughout the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
We happen to work together, so we discuss these things all the time. He's obviously involved in No Snooze as a partner, so he's invested in it just like we are. So I think he has finally come to a point that he said that he's going to start implementing, his own style of what we're doing basically with the diets.
Nice.
Not trying to get to 10% by any means, but I don't know if Claudio wanted to jump in, give another perspective. And Claudio's about 6 foot. He's a big guy. So it's another perspective as to what is going on with you. And I think it's another body type that people would be able to relate to. No camera on, I'm sorry, but CV, can you jump in here?
The voice, we'll call him.
Yeah, I mean, I took parts of what was said on the last episode, and I started, my wife, Catherine, started cooking and meal prepping. So meal prep is a thing at the Valenzuela household now.
Nice.
And it takes quite the amount of time, and it's time consuming, but at least throughout the week, everything is laid out and it's easy. And that's been easy, knowing that your meals are always there, ready, prepared. What's been a struggle has been, at the end of the day, at night, especially now because I'm doing the kind of the diet that you guys put out on the last episode. So the turkey, the chicken, vegetables, really not many calories or carbs, I should say. So I've been going through withdrawals throughout the week. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, at night, there was major withdrawals for sure. It got better. Then the weekend came around, and it's been a much better weekend than normal. I did have, food with my parents, so that's never,
That's hard, right? Too, right?
time.
When you're a guest somewhere.
Yeah.
We talked about it last episode, but like we were at my in-laws and they made breakfast. So instead of being like, I'm not eating and being like that weirdo, which I was for a while, I was like, all right, I'll eat eggs. I just won't have the bacon.
Right. Well, I had
It's
it
hard.
all. What I didn't
No, I know,
is one plate, which that never happens in my
Yes,
household.
yeah.
It's always like 2 plus maybe, dessert, this, that, where this time it was one plate, very measured, made sure I put it all on my Fitbit app so I could track it. And I did fast from Friday, recommendation of Mr. Regina. I fasted after my last meal on Friday. I didn't eat until literally it was time to eat the next day. I did get hungry around 12, so I did have some hard-boiled eggs, which is that magic ingredient. You can just eat that and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just had dinner, and that's all I really had. I didn't go over the calories. I guess I still had a deficit because I think I had eaten 2,500 and I think I had my out were like 3,000.
Nice.
So even eating that, so
that's
kind of-
perfect.
yeah.
500 a day is like optimal if you could get in a deficit like that. But my question, CV, is people have like it's just a tough thing, right? And you have to be willing to have the willpower to say, okay, you know what? Yes, I ate a bad meal, maybe, right? I messed up on the diet. Okay, cool. But how do you respond to that? And from what you're saying, you're now able to get back on track. But that's the most important thing, I think, for others and out there, right? You've spoken to me about like, well, you know, yes, I can do it for a month or 2 months, but then at some point I don't do it for one day, then that one day becomes like a week. So what are you applying now that you think will help you get through that?
Right. Well, I'll tell you right now, I don't know. We'll find out in a month, 2 months, 3 months. Consistency is the hardest thing to achieve, I think. Having the right information, putting things into place, the system, all that stuff. You can put all that into place. At the end of the day, if you're not consistent, that's where you're going to end up falling. So I don't know what's different. I'm trying it out. I'm liking the process. I'm liking the fact that everything is preset and done. So we just have to work on that consistency bit for me personally.
I think the difference this time is going to be you have more knowledge of everything, because I think Dave does a good job of educating in phases. He doesn't give you too much to consume, not to use a metaphor. He'll tell you what you need to get to the first step. He did it with my father very well. And then he'll tell you once you're like graduated that step, you know?
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing that Dave does the best is reminding you.
Oh, yeah. He holds you accountable.
If you're falling off track.
Very, very humbly remind you.
Yeah.
What did you eat this weekend?
Yeah.
The fast after what I started to do, CV, that I like, I don't know if you can implement it. Whenever I like cheat, like I go to family or something, or you go out, the next day I do a fast for like as long as you really can before I start the routine again, and it kind of resets you. You
Yep.
know, I
That's
used to
smart.
do that a lot.
So that was a Saturday thing, and,
Oh, you did that?
honestly,
Yeah.
it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It was 16 hours that I fasted, and I die without my coffee in the morning, and I flat out didn't do it, and I made it till 12, and that was 16 hours, and then like I said, I actually texted Dave, and I was like, hey, you'd be proud of me. I went to a deli, and the smells of bacon, egg, and cheese, of sausage, of hash browns, and I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? Is there hard-boiled eggs or something around? And I ended up getting that, and that's
awesome.
Well, that's a good point too. Is like you try not to put yourself unnecessarily in those situations if you can. Obviously, sometimes it's inevitable, but if you don't have to, that's the biggest thing. Like you're saying, you have everything prepped, so then you can't even make the decision of like, oh, let's go get some, because you have food and you feel guilty. Like, oh, I don't want to waste, all this food we cooked already, so you feel like you have to eat it.
No, I love, first of all, CV, and I like what you said, the voice. I think we'll
The
go
voice,
with that,
that's
right? Because you
good,
can't
yeah.
see him, but you can hear him.
Yeah.
So every week, hopefully, we'll come back with some of his
Who's
updates.
your ultimate body you want? Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
I was thinking Ronaldo would be a good one. Cristiano?
Wait, before you answer that, I have a question. It's more of a challenge for you. I would like you to get to a point that you're feeling comfortable with the routine, that then you put something in your own head of a measurable goal. And eventually we try to work through that. And if it's something that you can agree to, then we give the update on the progress, for the podcast. It's just another voice. It's another body. And it's another opinion and perspective. Because, what goes on behind the scenes with the three of us, obviously people only see Mike and I on the screen. CV is a major part of this. So if it's something that, you're willing and able to do, I think it's awesome, man. So welcome to The Voice.
Yes.
But
I'm
yeah,
excited.
So now who's your body?
Be careful, that may be trademarked.
The voice?
That is a show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
The voice. That's going to be
That's
our new
right.
logo.
I forgot about them. So who's your favorite body type?
Well, actually, I do like Matthew McConaughey. He's
Nice.
guy.
Nice.
So we'll call us the McConaughey
I don't
challenge.
think I could ever have that body though. Just because I'm thicker and my lower body's thicker. I have
CV, I'm going to be honest. I don't think I will either, but I'm going to shoot for it. I have a something to admit, too, while we're being very truthful here. We went to brother-in-law's this past weekend. Dave was there, right? He was.
Yep.
I'm a little more accountable when, like, someone I'm doing the challenge with at the place. He left early because he left me high and dry because he had to do, we'll get into it, but he had class the next morning. So Dave leaves. I'm drinking vodka sodas, which is like my go-to when I'm cutting.
Yep.
I didn't go crazy, had a couple, but when I have a little bit of alcohol, I get the drunk munchies. And I had no pizza for a little bit, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wait drink a bunch of water, a bunch of alcohol, which is probably not a good idea. Then I'm going to have my pizza a little later when it's like cold and I'm not ravenous.
Yikes.
So I had 2 slices, right?
That's what I did.
Sat down with you. While you were there, I had the 2 slices.
Uh-oh.
Then I didn't have any of the
There's more.
the hors d'oeuvres, right? And I'm like, all right, well, it's 12 o'clock. Like, where's Dave? Dave left. I look around, Dave left. I go over to the table. They have these like cheese crisp things, these wisps. Take a bite. I'm like, oh, these are good. I put mozzarella balls on them and just start popping them like they're pills. Then I look over and I'm like, oh, is this jam? Like, this is fig jam?
Spread,
I
right?
love fig. Look at the sugars, like 5 grams of sugar for a scoop. I had maybe half the bottle of the fig. Then I'm like looking over and I see there's charcuteries, right? Meats. I'm like, all right, let me try some
Are you
meats.
still looking around for Dave? Is Dave there?
Still looking for you. I know you're not there. But
By the way, how bad are those for you?
everything's so bad that I'm
Is
just...
anything
what?
good is bad, right?
What?
No,
What?
not
Wait, what?
that's not true.
Charcuteries.
Oh, the charcuterie?
It's the salt.
No, so one,
And
and,
the
this is
fat.
a different debate, but it's the processed meat,
Mm.
right? So if you're on a diet like us, yes, the meat is high in protein, which is okay, but that's a whole separate conversation on processed foods.
Yeah, that's another... We'll get
So
into...
it's not very healthy for us.
I'm
should
I'm
avoid
only saying this because there may have been a little instance yesterday where some charcuteries came out, and I had a few, and I kept counting them. It was
Yeah.
not good.
So I was being good with the shrimp, right? Initially, I did the shrimp, and I was just slamming shrimp because I know that's just pure protein. And my point being to this whole story is that like I was cheating and I knew I was doing it, but in my head I was like, I just got to bounce back tomorrow because this whole week I was very good, and I got to make sure I get my workout in and all that stuff. But you also don't want to not enjoy yourself, so it's
Right.
finding that balance.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, and so one, I don't think it's that bad, right? What you did.
In a typical night, I would have had 6 slices of
Right.
pizza. I would have got McDonald's on the way home. Like, it was a lot better than typical.
And that's
which is
all you.
fine.
That's look. It's about the progress, right?
But
For me, so when I walked into the place, I knew that I was going to be tempted. So yes, I had a couple drinks, mixed it with a little ice or club soda, right? Just so the calories stay low, like you're saying. I had 2 slices of pizza as the cheat, and then I had a little bit of the hors d'oeuvres and charcuterie as well. But then I did call it a night at like 11 o'clock because I know for me, things that happen after 11 o'clock, I really can't control.
yeah, that was
And
my problem.
I also had to cover my buddy Adolfo's cycling class, which, by the way, I want to bring some clarity to. Certain individuals have been reaching out asking if I can get them into my new spin class, right? Because they don't know the story behind it. They think of a spin instructor. That's great. I'm humbled by that, but I'm not. My buddy Adolfo, 31 years old, young, active guy. He actually got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. The prognosis is basically the best prognosis that you can get in terms of a full recovery. So he is, more than anything. He's inspired. He's just looking at this as another challenge. But that's what I'm doing. I'm covering the podium for his class because he started chemotherapy. And he feels a little weak after. So everybody in the class is like kind of, taking turns and covering the podium for him. My time slot happens to be 8 a.m. on a Saturday. So it's a blessing in disguise.
Keeps you accountable.
Yes. But one, everybody is there for you, Adolfo. We know you're going to pull through on this. And 2, it's easier for me that I can just say, yep, I got an 8 a.m. cycling class because it holds me accountable,
I've mentioned this in the past, but that's what real estate is for me.
Right.
Because whenever I want to sneak out of there, I'm like, I got to work tomorrow, which
Yep.
is true.
Right.
It's usually true, but
Right.
it's a nice like accountability thing because
Yes.
I do like to enjoy myself.
And honestly, another piece on Adolfo, like the fact that he is still talking about, you ride with your purpose, you ride with your power, you ride with, finding what your why is while he's going through this. While I was dying on the bike the other day, I'm like, man, this is nothing, so his no snooze mindset is on another level. We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NOSNOOZE30. Again, that's NOSNOOZE30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain.
My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the epi.
I'm smiling because I'm remembering the story of when we went out and I didn't tell you that I was like dieting and I was drinking vodka sodas and I had to work the next day and you were drinking alongside me the whole night. I'm talking like we might have had 10 drinks each. He didn't know I switched to just water seltzer after like the third one. He's like, how are you so sober? I'm like, dude, I've been drinking water for I've just been getting you vodkas. He was so mad at me.
Oh my God.
So that's a fun fact to hack. If you don't want to be like telling people that you're trying to hold back on it, do a little seltzer and vodka or, soda, vodka sodas, because you can just do all soda and no one will have any idea.
Right. Or splash a little cranberry juice in there just so people think that
I act like a pregnant woman, I'm like sneaking mocktails in my diets.
That's good. There was one DM that I want to I have to highlight because we just spoke about the salvo. So Chris, your brother-in-law, he happens to be just one of the funniest individuals.
And let me clarify, Brother Bill was the host because Chris never invites me over.
Right. Go
ahead.
So I happened to look in the DM, and it was after Mike had posted his body fat update on the scale or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just see Chris write, "Holy cow," with the cow emoji. And picturing him say that, but I knew what it does to Mike, because for me, right, if I see that and I'm trying to get on my routine, I use that as motivation.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so again, my question to you, when somebody writes that, like, what goes through your mind and how did you respond?
I enjoy it. I like the banter. I have to admit, whenever I see him, I give him a hard time about it. My joke with him is like, once your metabolism catches up, you're in trouble. Like, that hip is going to get out of control. He's 28, I think. And I'm like, wait till you hit 30, bud. Wait, I just keep saying it. But he's in great shape right now, so it's been fun to banter. But that's how I was with my brother a lot.
Yeah, yep,
we used to, I still do it.
Right.
I like the banter. Something like that, though, does make me rethink, like, cheat days. Like, if I'm about to hit a big cheat meal and someone says that, I'm like, I got to hold back.
Yep.
On that note, I just don't want to forget a cheat meal that I probably will have tonight is Sam's Bar and Grill. It's a good family friend. The whole Portchester area is, I think, an orange zone.
Right.
So they're all shut down on the interiors.
Yeah, if you're just listening to this later on, this is during the coronavirus pandemic.
Yes.
So Portchester is right on the border of Connecticut and New York. New York in that area happens to be the orange zone, right? So they have different standards of what they can do right now, right?
So they're in a tough situation.
Yep.
The family friend reached out. It's the Catalanos and then Dennis Shack, who's one of the owners.
Yep.
And part of the thing that I enjoy the most about having a platform like No Snooze, like Tell Mike Sent You, like my real estate stuff, is that you're able to help people without, obviously money's great and going and supporting and buying sandwiches is great and, donating. But the ability to spread a message and get a community behind things, not to like say that I'm responsible for it. I was just the kind of the igniter for a little bit of a push.
Absolutely.
But we did a post, and if you're listening, if you can go to the Tell Mike Sent You Instagram, you don't even have to follow. Just go to the post that has Sam's on it. I believe it'll probably be like the third or fourth, and it has all the tags and all the comments. Just leave a comment at Barstool Fund and then tag a couple of friends. Right. Something that I try to be aware of is like sometimes I'm worried that people are think that it's just trying to get exposure for a brand.
No,
I
we
talked about this with
I always tell you no, but
I like to clarify.
Yeah, but I don't even think that's necessary because everybody knows where your true heart is at behind
that. But my
that.
point being is that you get to a position where if you do have some type of a following, I urge people to try to contribute back to people that maybe don't have the following on like an Instagram. It's not a big difference, but a lot of people don't have Instagram, TikTok following, whatever it is. And if you can help someone, just try to throw.
Of course.
Because just a message, I think.
Taking it a step further with making the comment and tagging at Barstool Fund, Dave Portnoy and the whole
amazing.
Barstool sports crew, they're incredible. What they did was Dave put up, I think, about $500,000 of his own money and then said, wow, you know what? Other people might want to be involved in this. So started like a GoFundMe type of thing, raised millions of dollars, and now they are selecting restaurants and small businesses who are struggling during the pandemic to donate that money to help them out.
Yeah.
So I think what you're doing is great. You know, I love Sam's myself. We've had some phenomenal nights there. Yeah. Great memories. And it's a staple in even in the Greenwich, Connecticut community, you know?
Yeah. So it's been, that's been fun. The Portnoy, can't say enough about what he did. The nice thing about him is he talks a big game, but he backs it up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that I'm starting to think about is like, if you talk a big game, especially trying to help businesses and things, you got to back it up. So you got to find ways to do so.
Yep.
No, so it's been fun.
Well said.
Anyway, my cheat meal, steak sandwich, Sam's, phenomenal.
They call it a steak Sammy?
They should, right? I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
We started the hashtag Save Sam's, and then I started one Save the Sandwich, which is kind of messed up because like they're great people there, and I'm like, save the sandwich, forget the people.
No, it's true. So definitely give them a give them your local support. It definitely means a lot. I wanted to put forth a recommendation to everybody.
Love it.
On a episode that I just listened to, and it was, Shawn Stevenson is.
It's very bizarre that we both landed on the same person podcast.
Right. Well, it's not ironic for me because Ed Milet, I kind of just downloaded, so it was a coincidence because the download is already there, but the episode was with Shawn Stevenson. Yes. It happens to be a coincidence because you were doing your own research on him. Stevenson, he's the top in the field. He has a top podcast, the Model Health Show, I think it's called, and it's literally #1 in the world. So his knowledge and his delivery is incredible. The episode itself, phenomenal, but took it a step further, and I got the book, and it's called Eat Smarter. So that recommendation is definitely there. I urge you to check it out. I haven't started the book yet, but I just off of that episode, I said, wow, you know what? I need to get this book.
You probably noticed that I always smile when you're telling stories because you say something and then I think of something witty, funny to say back, and I don't say it because I don't want to interrupt you. But when you said that, eat smarter, in my head I'm like, and read faster because like you want to get
I have my 10 pages a day. I know it's going to take me a while to finish, but he gives this baseball analogy on the 4 personality types on dieting. Taking it a step further, I think it's the 4 personality types of life, right? So I just want to share the message. Again, this is not what we're saying that we invented, right? So be clear about that. But it's a good analogy and something easy that, I'm sure there's millions of personality types in the world, but when it comes to dieting, they're looking at it in these 4 ways.
I think it's very interesting that you latch on to like frameworks.
Well, I like easy things, right? I used to complicate things, but I like taking millions of people in the world and being able to categorize them into 4 categories.
And the argument is, even if it's not super like accurate, it still gives you a starting point.
Yeah, it's a framework. That was a great word. So it's a baseball analogy, and the first personality type when it comes to dieting specifically, but again, I think this is applicable to all walks of life, is those who swing for the fences, right? And Mike is looking around. But swinging for the fences is basically, I hear something, I get motivated by it, I am all in 100% without proper preparation. That's why Claudio is laughing. I don't know why, but
okay.
What's that?
So I'm thinking about where I land.
It's Mike's favorite 5 Ps.
No, so that's one. That's only one, right?
But I don't know if you heard a lot of preparation that I was just talking about.
I'm not categorizing us. I'm just giving the first one, right?
Okay.
Then individual number 2 is waiting for the perfect pitch, right? Somebody hears about something, they're like, all right, now I have to do my research. Now I have to get the proper shoes for this class. Now I have to get the proper equipment. And that individual doesn't take action because they're waiting for the perfect moment. So that's personality number 2. Personality number 3 is the easy out. They say yes, right? They get up to bat and they're just an out every single time because they say yes to something. But as soon as a little bit of hardship comes into their life, they just completely back out of whatever they're doing. So that's the easy out, right? So that's personality number 3. Then the 4th one is what I like to say, AKA the no snoozer, but it is the all-around player. Somebody who has congruency in their life, alignment, know what they're working towards, and can do this on a consistent basis, year in, day in, week in, month out. Clearly, all of us are trying to become the 4th one, but what they're saying is that we all embody these personality types, and we can have multiple of them. But what are we going to do in our own lives to make sure that we become that no snoozer? The person who is the all-around player. So it was a good analogy.
That's
I
good.
wanted to share it. But now let's talk about you and I a little bit, where we fall into those categories.
I was thinking about that. It sounds more like a process. Like it sounds like you start at where you start something, you don't get it done. Then you get into the phase of like you are trying to wait for the perfect pitch, preparing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get it done.
Yep.
Then sometimes you just swing for the fences. So I think when you were saying it, I think I'm a combination of swing for the fences and wait for the perfect pitch, and sometimes they don't align.
And all-around player, for sure.
Yeah, but the way when you were saying that, I'm thinking of how many times I was talking about my weights, right? But then the pitch came because I found the weights, so I did kind of execute on it. It was just it took time to figure it out.
And this is just something that we're talking about.
No,
now
I know.
with the
I'm
diet.
thinking through
but
it.
For me, when I heard this, right, and again, I like that word alignment. I think my life is going the way that it's going now because I'm applying this no snooze mindset in all aspects, right? Not just in my fitness, which I was doing for a long time, doing it in the business, but then, even in my relationships, family, money, tactics, financial stuff, I wasn't always doing that. So in my marriage, when I heard this, I remember thinking like waiting for the perfect pitch, right? So I remember when things were tough, like, yeah, you know what? I don't have to fix it because you know what? Maybe we'll just buy a house and things will go away. Like it will get better just like that, So I did that for a long time. And until you can realize that, you find your own process. And yes, there's times that we're going to be all four of these or all three, because the fourth one is where we all want to be. But now that I have a framework like that to look at, it's something that's so specific that I'm like, oh, wow, you know what? Maybe I'm having a moment that, yeah, I am just an easy out right now. How do you respond is the biggest thing. And what I'm trying to do is to make sure that I move my life in the entire direction of an all-around player.
I have trouble with all the analogies because I think I have like split personalities because in certain circumstances am, like you said, everyone's a little bit of everything. I think I change so much constantly. Like I'm always.
You do. You definitely do. But I think that's part of the career that you're in too. Like it's a good thing. You utilize it to your benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's something that I always used to think about. Like when I was younger, I would always be like, well, I'm not really. Like I think I'm a little funny, but I'm not the funny guy, right? Like I'm business.
No, you're pretty funny.
Like I think I'm pretty smart, but I'm not like the smart guy. Like I'm.
Yeah, no, that's me.
Exactly. Like I like to work out, like I'm in shape, but I'm not like the athlete guy. I never was like a single, not single, like I feel like I was very complex, and it was hard for me when I was younger to put it into like a box or a personality. And I hate to say the ADD, but the scattered thoughts and the constant energy and all that stuff it was always hard to be like, I want to do this certain thing. Right. And that's why I think I gravitated to the real estate world, like you're saying, because you have to do a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting.
But in your life and everything else, right? With your daughter, with your wife.
Yeah, everything. But
you want to be at that all-around player, right? That's where we all want to live because we basically embody those moments where we have that personality type. But that doesn't define us, right? That's like goes back to like the 80-20 stuff that we had talked about like, a while ago, as something that I look at. And by the way, that 80% for me, I expect that to rise over the years, right? Like 80-20 was cool, but now it's like, okay, well 20% is a big mistake for me. So I need to find little ways. Okay, well how do I get down to 18%? How do I get to 10%? And I'm not talking body fat,
Well, that's all I'm thinking when you're talking. The time blocking has been a big adjustment that I've enjoyed and it helps with anxiety, because sometimes when you don't put time frames on things, they expand to fill the time. Whereas now, knowing that I have to get my workout done before 7, no ifs, ands, or buts. If you don't get it done, you don't get it done.
Yep.
That's helped me, because before I would just kind of, all right, well, it's 7:30, I'll figure it out. But then the other tasks compound and it creates more stress. And knowing that once 7's done, I'm done with the workout, done with the no snooze post. Now I'm turning into dad until 9. Well, I'm dad basically until 7, but dad until 9. Then when I'm in the office, from 9 to 5, 9 to 6, real estate, then back to being dad.
Right.
Yep.
No, and it's a management process, something that we're always just striving for.
Dad and husband.
That's right. And also, just on a side note, we would like to also help other small businesses. So moving forward, if you do have a small business, reach out to us. Maybe you could get on and sponsor a podcast for us. We're going to start a little initiative where, we can also help give back. I'm sorry. So that's something to look forward to as well.
Yeah.
Right.
We're excited about that portion.
Yep.
The only thing I want to mention is the GNC story.
Yes, please.
So I had to go into GNC. Thank you, Kas Jema, for the shout out. He told me go to GNC. If you spend, I think it's $10, they'll weigh you in on what's the machine called? InBody. So I go, I buy my krill oil. I'm talking to the guy there. I forget what his name was.
Good guy.
Yeah, I tagged him. I'll see him next week. So, but anyway, I roll in. I'm like, hey, can I use that machine? I'm in a suit, right? And in my head, Dave told me to cut my toenails and make sure my feet were fresh. I'll admit I don't have the best feet, especially the bottoms are a little rough. I probably need a pedi. So I walk in. I'm talking to the guy. I'm a little worried that I'm gonna whip out my feet and weigh in with a suit on. Kind of at rush hour, 5 o'clock on a Friday, was it, or Thursday?
Yeah, I think it was that Thursday appointment, right?
So I'm talking to the guy, and I'm like, what do you think about this strategy? I'm bouncing ideas off him because he works at GNC, he must know some stuff. And he looks concerned. He's like, wait, what are you doing? What is, how many calories? No, that's not right. I'm like, I'm doing 10,000 steps. He's like, no, wait, you need to do way more than that. He basically, very nice guy, shot down all the strategy. So I'm already like, all right, whatever, we'll figure it out. Like, can you set this thing up? So we go to set it up, take my shoes off. It's in the front window. So you're weighing in and all these cars are going by, people walking by. It's very awkward. So I'm like, it was on video. I go, what do you think I am? And he's like, you're probably 23. And I got upset. I'm like, are you kidding? 23? In my head, I was more what did I say? 19, 18?
Yeah, no, I said you were 18. I think you
gave me more credit.
I think you believed you were even lower.
No. I'm realistic. I talk a lot, but I'm there's no way because I have zero muscle. So just the math in my head.
You don't have zero muscle, Michael. Not zero.
Limited muscle,
limited
right?
muscle.
So I get on it, and the best part is, you know how it goes up?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, and I'm in my head, I'm trying to calculate. I'm like, oh, it's slowing down a little bit. Oh, it's slowing down. And then it would go fast. It got caught on 19, 0.4 or something. And I'm like, all right, that's respectable. Less than 20 is respectable. And then it bing, bing, bing. And it went to 22.9 or whatever it was. I told the guy, I said, what's the max amount of time people have weighed in here? And he goes, there was one guy who came every week. You just have to spend, it's either $5 or $10 at the store. So I told him, I'm like, would you be okay if I came in every week? He'd be like, that'd be great. I would love it. That'd be great. So I might do a weekly weigh-in at GNC in Greenwich, in Riverside. And the whole moral of this story is that you need data. You need to actually know the facts, because in my head, if I was 18, I wouldn't have the urgency that I need to have now to implement things to get there. Because a lot of people, including myself, are afraid to know the actual fact. Right? A lot of people are afraid to know percentages, weights,
right?
Money. A lot of people don't look at their bank accounts because they're afraid to know how much they spend. The 90% of it, I think, is just knowing where you're starting.
Yep. It's well said, and a great story behind it. But the thought process is spot on. And no matter how bad it is, right, you can always get better.
Yeah.
And that's where, when you first have this moment of all right, you know what? Yeah, I used to like the idea of it, but now I really want to do something. Now it's, okay, well, where am I at?
Yeah.
Because to me, if you take somebody that's completely overweight and you start this, diet with them, I actually want to know how overweight I am. I want to know how high that percentage is, because if I am really committed and I do really want to do something, then that means that I'm going to take that measurement and I'm going to come back in a week or 2 weeks or a month and make sure that my numbers are actually lower. That's where you build confidence, right? But it's not about losing the 50 pounds if you need to lose 50. It's not about losing the 10 pounds. No, it's about losing that 1 to 2 pounds a week, because it's attainable and it's measurable.
Yeah.
Right.
Any type of data too, right? if you're at work, be realistic. What did you bring in last year?
Yes.
You know, you can't know if you're getting better if you don't know where you started.
It's all about the small wins. And now this will bring us to my favorite section, very selfishly. Dave's Dime of the Week.
Dimes.
And this has been happening for me when I look at my Oreos at night. Don't give up what you want most for what you want now. Because I want the Oreos now, but I don't want it the most. What I want the most in this moment for this challenge is getting down to 10%.
Have you heard the saying, a moment on the lips, forever on the hips?
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
It's one of the funniest
Is that Miguelito's mantra? That's a beast one right now.
I should have used that.
That is so good.
That's a good one.
That is awesome.
Food never tastes as good as skinny feels. Have you heard that one?
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I forget who told me. Some girl told me that one. That was a good one.
That's good.
Some
I
woman
have
know.
a question.
Yes.
Are you having Oreos?
Yes, I am. Yes. Good question, by the way. So I found 2 holes in my diet where I have
Filled them with Oreos.
I filled them with Oreos. I basically make sure that all my macros for the day are hit, and then I have like a
Empty
leftover.
calories.
Right, I have leftover of like 300 calories, and at that point, I have 2 to 4 Oreos, and I did that twice this week, plus 2 slices of pizza. So that was my like bad cheat, and then tonight is Sunday. This will air tomorrow, so tonight I'll have something that is not great.
But is the fat content in both the Oreos and now that you said the pizzas, does that affect because one thing is carbs and whatever, losing all that, but if you're trying to lose body fat percentage, if you're introducing new fat in there,
Right.
doesn't that kind of negate
So
it?
that's where the macro. Great
As long as
question.
you're in a deficit,
That's a great
right?
question. But that's where to be specific about the body fat, that's where the macros help so much. So I'm able to achieve my protein, right, and then I leave some open for my fat and my carbs. So I fill the hole with something that is just fat and carbs, but I'm still in my amount for the day. The key for me is making sure I don't go into the surplus, right? So that's why they call your macros is like flexible dieting, because it's flexible, right? You do the best that you can for 90 to 95% of it. Then if 5% of my day is taken up with Oreos and a sporadic donut per se.
Sporadic donut. Is there any other type?
Right. That's where the flexibility comes in, because you're still staying within your macros for the day.
So you would be able to be at 10% body fat and still be able to hit an Oreo here and there?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
A lot of them do that.
100%.
I mean, those dudes look like it's just
Oh
skin
no,
on bone.
dude! That I mean, when you get at that level, you can sustain that and have Oreos.
It's almost easier. 'Cause
probably
you're burning
every
more.
other day.
Am I up?
Bring it.
That was a good one. This is Miguelito's mantras. All right, Ito. I got it. Don't you worry.
Ito.
I posted this and I put Dave's head in a pretzel. Done is better than perfect.
Definitely put me in a pretzel. Your thought process.
See how mad? I love how he gets fired up right
No,
away.
no. Your thought process is spot on.
I didn't
And
make it.
No, but when you explained it to me, then I was like, okay. But in my head, done can't be better than perfect, right? Like perfect is the best. Now, if you can't get something perfectly done and no one's perfect, I would have just liked to see like well done is better than perfect, right? Because to me, if I just do something just to do it, like especially with this challenge, right? If I just go to the gym and really don't do a workout well, it's not better than a perfect workout, right?
There is a end to that should be done is better. Done is better than perfect if you can't get it perfectly done.
There
something
you
like
go.
That. But part of the fun in these mantras is leaving a little open-ended because
Yes.
people can interpret it and fill in their own, sometimes the wrong way, which is fun.
Right.
There's a portion that I want to add to this, and I don't know if you're okay with this. What was your favorite thing from today's episode? I enjoyed the body type conversation because I think
Oh yeah, that was a good one. I would like to know though where we all are at our body type.
we
I
go.
thought we were gonna go in that direction.
This is what I think we do, right? I think the next episode we come back with our people, and we maybe present a picture. You can superimpose it.
We could do that.
Think through that, because that's something.
I also
that-
thought for a second that whole segment was gonna be like a body shape. So
body
here's
shapes.
a pear, here's an apple.
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
a donut.
The you need to like visualize what you want, so then you can like guide yourself towards it, right? We
Yep.
talk about like going on a yacht. If you want a yacht, go walk on one.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
if you
I
want to
think-
look like a guy, stare at him.
I think my favorite part of it was hearing your adjustments.
Oh yeah,
I like the adjustments because you quickly, I think, realize that you know what you need to implement a serious routine, and that will propel you forward.
and I think I had a hard time explaining all of them in an organized fashion because I'm kind of jamming them all together at the moment, and now I'm starting to get them organized, but I'm not there yet because it's been a week. Right?
Yep.
The overarching adjustment is basically doing workouts that I can do anywhere, doing a diet that I can implement also anywhere. Basically, just making something sustainable and simple is the major overarching goal of everything.
Well said. I love it, and I appreciate you. And these eppies, my jacket's a little tight.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't even go
So
there.
until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
Daddy's tight.
Did you rip your jacket? That's another Effie in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Come on.